Cooksy Mob, what's happening? Hey, happy 4th of July. Hopefully you're watching this before the 4th of July. I'm doing this on July 3rd. But World Supercross. World Supercross opening round. Not the pilot season, the actual opening round. They did those the pilot rounds last year, crowned a couple champions, and really kind of got their feet wet. And they were supposed to work through a lot of the bugs and kind of dial in the program. Well, let me just say, you guys know I'm a huge proponent of World Supercross. Oh boy, they've got some work to do. To say I was disappointed would be an understatement. You guys know that I feel like this series and its success is very, very important to the future of the sport. And I 100% believe this series succeeding will make this sport bigger. It will make this sport more profitable, and it will make it more fair for the actual riders that risk their lives for this sport. But we need to make some changes. We need to make them fast. I got some tough love coming for World Supercross, but just know it's out of love, guys. I want this series to succeed. But there was some great racing. There was some absolutely great racing, and we'll get into that. But first, I want to thank Epic Garage Designs. You guys see the studio. It's awesome. Epic has got everything you need for your garage. Flooring, cabinets, racks. And then if you need blinds, and your blinds or shutters and you're in the Las Vegas area, hit up Epic Blinds. Complete Med Solutions. You guys know Coach Rob. What they do is they've got a program where they take your blood and they analyze it. They don't analyze it like a regular doctor. They analyze it for performance to get you your optimum health. They're not just trying to make sure you don't have something. They're trying to make you perform at your best. So check out Complete Med Solutions. Then we've got CF7. You guys know CF7. Welcome them. They're on board. Honestly, let's be real. I'm a bit of a nerd. And thank you to CF7 for finally giving me something that's cool, and I appreciate it. Like I said, my kids make fun of the stuff I wear. They actually like CF7. So it's a surf brand. Jack English has started it, and just check them out. CF7, some of the coolest stuff you'll see. Also into vintage bikes. Yeah, check out CF7. And then you know, my favorite goggle company, Ride Strapped or Strapped. They've got the Let's Go Brandon goggles. They've got American flag goggles. They've got glasses. Some of the coolest shirts that I've seen too. They've got the t-shirts. I love their shirts. They're thin, they're comfortable. Maybe not quite as cool as CS7, but they're really good. Listen, I like Strapped. Strapped is awesome. So go to ridestrapped.com. And now, let's get into this.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So with World Supercross, I'm going to start with the things that they got right. I really like if you go to WSX.tv, I was able to watch it live. I paid $49.99 for the entire season. That includes replays. I believe you can watch it live for like $5 or something. You don't have to pay very much, but you don't get access to the replays. Myself, I like going to the lake in the summer, so I want to watch it when I get home. I might not watch it all live, so I paid for the $49.99. Plus, I really want to support this series. I got to put my money where my mouth is, which is exactly what I did with my friend Bobby Piazza. Don't forget, guys, he is giving away a van and a motorcycle. This is one of the coolest, probably, giveaways that I've seen in a long time. He's going to get 400 entrants, so you have a 1 in 400 chance to win a Mercedes Sprinter and his bike. So get over to Bobby Piazza's and buy a ticket. But back to World Supercross. There was some awesome racing. I love the 3 starts. It's crazy. It's fast. It's a lot of action. But, and Shane McElrath, let me just start with Shane McElrath. I love seeing Shane McElrath on a 250, and this race was catered to him. The way it's a slick surface, he might be one of the best slick surface hard pack riders of this generation. He is so good. If you look at his history, whenever it's like that, he kicks ass. He's got such a good throttle control, and he's so comfortable on a 250. I wish he could ride a 250 all the time over here in the United States. Unfortunately, they have the stupid point out rule, which they've grandfathered in. Like if he were to come through now, he wouldn't point out because he wasn't a champion. Now they're only kicking out the champions, but they won't revert that and let guys like him and Bogle go back to the 250 class, which I think they should do. But he looked great. Max Anstey in his hometown. Max on the podium. What do you say? I'm going to get this #1 plate from this bloke. I love it. A little bit of trash talk. Max Anstey, he's great for the sport. He's great for the entertainment. He helps us develop the story. And then it was funny when they called Enzo. Poor Ralph Shaheen. Ralph had a really bad day. He called Enzo Lopes, Mitchell Oldenburg, as he walked up onto the podium. He caught himself. At one point, he said that he had to get his brain fixed. I don't know if he had jet lag, or he's just not used to doing it, or he's trying too hard. Ralph had a bad day, and needless to say, World Supercross, please make an offer to Daniel Blair. He's a free agent right now. Go get him. That's what you need. You really want to take the series to the next level? Go get Daniel Blair. We don't need... Do you want to be the same as the United States Series, but just a second-tier version? Because that's what you're doing when you bring in Jeff and Ralph and try and duplicate the stuff that they've already perfected over here. No. Bring in the guy that they missed out on. Don't bring in the retread that they already ran off. And listen, I feel bad saying that because I think Ralph's a genuinely good person. I know some people that know him personally. I think he's a great guy. I'm sorry, but he's not what the sport needs as an announcer. His ridiculous facts. He reminded me of, you ever talk to like an old person and you ask them what time it is and they tell you where the watch is made? That's what Ralph does. Ralph does some weird stuff like that, and it was really annoying to me. What Ralph needs to do, and Jeff and Chad did a pretty good job. I love Chad. If Chad had a couple people that supported him on the broadcast, Chad Reed is amazing. I love his analysis. They need to tell me the story. Tell me the why. Stop with these mundane facts. Tell me about the racers, their days, their challenges, and not just that Enzo Lopes had a dislocated shoulder. And by the way, Ralph, it was only dislocated when it was out. Once they pop it back in, it no longer becomes dislocated. It's an injured shoulder. He's not racing with a dislocated shoulder. He's racing with an injured shoulder that was dislocated. I don't know why that bugged me. Maybe that's just me, but it was driving me crazy. So, Ralph, it was dislocated earlier. It was popped back in. I'm a guy who's had 4 surgeries on this shoulder, 2 on this shoulder. So I know shoulder surgeries. And the thing about those is it's not necessarily the pain you deal with that day. Yes, it hurts, and I'm sure Enzo is probably in a bit of pain, but it's the instability that really was scary because you don't know if it's going to come out again. And that's what's terrifying is you're riding and you don't know what weird movement's going to make it pop out. But when it's in, it doesn't hurt that bad when it goes back into place if it goes in the right way. But anyway, these races, I timed the 250 main event, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So an LCQ in Supercross, I think, is like 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes plus 1 lap. This was 4 minutes when Max crossed the finish line in that the second main. Oh my gosh. How do you have a 22-man start and then you have 3 minutes and something after that, after the start, to make up? You can't have a 22-man field and do 3 minutes. If you're going to do a 22-man field, let's make that qualifying, which the qualifying that was earlier, they might as well just call that practice because it doesn't really matter. Yes, it's gate pick, but if you're in the top 10 in that, you're fine. But what it should be is it should be a 2-row start. That way, if you're going to make these guys do 3 starts, which are extremely dangerous, and you're going to have pileups, starts are scary. Starts are faster than they used to be. It's not like it was in the 80s and 90s. These bikes haul ass. They have start devices, launch grids. They're going much faster. You need a 2-row or a grid start, and I'm not talking the starting grid, I'm talking about grid like MotoGP and some of these other racing organizations where qualifying is benefited. If you want to flip it for the second one and then go back, I'm fine with that. I would be okay with going, whatever you qualify, you're on the pole for 1, you're last for 2, pole for 3. And then I don't understand if they're all weighted equally, except for the tiebreaker, why is the third one so much longer? And why did Jeff Emig say the points and money are paid in the third main?
Right, this is where it all comes down to. This is where the points and the money, big crap.
I'm sorry, I get it, but that's part of these guys being old school, and they're not able to change. And I like hearing Jeff, and I think if Jeff had someone modern with him, like a Daniel Blair, you'd see a different Jeff Emig. But having a guy talking about Le Mans and comparing changing a clutch to a rear-ended Audi.
Well, you learn from this sort of thing, right? You think back to sports car racing, what Audi did, where they learned at Le Mans to build the entire rear end where they could just disconnect it, pull it out, and put one entire new rear end all in one piece, right? We might see development like that.
I'm sorry, I'm not a car guy. I'm like, shut up, Ralph. And then poor Kristen Beat having to interview these guys in between races.
Max Anstey just setting his whole shot device down here. Max, you took the second GP race win the last time we were in the UK, so replicating old trends, but how do you break that trend by closing out the night with a good third GP race?
Yeah, I'm just here to do my job. I honestly have no idea what you just said, but
it was loud down here, guys.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm just focused on what I got to do.
Well done.
In the UFC, you don't see them going to the fighters while they're getting water and prepping in between rounds. You don't see, occasionally you'll see a word or two in football during a timeout, or when they're running in for halftime, but we're talking about 15 minutes. Stop interviewing these guys. Let them focus on the race. Let them, and that's an easy fix. Send her down there to just tell us the story. Tell us what's happening. And please stop with the replays. I don't want to see, if you're going to have a 4-minute race, do not waste 30 seconds with a slow-mo replay. I'm missing 75% of my race when you do that. Like, come on. You have 7 minutes in between these races where Ralph rambles about who knows what, when you could actually be breaking down the field. Hey, this is who got first, this is who got second, this is who got third. Kyle Peters had a rough round, he got fourth. Break down what happened. There's so much action. It was ignored to the point where they're just talking, and then the second race took off.
Better to be further inside and sneak around when everyone else pushes wide.
It seems, I've watched a couple of the starts, like I've been on the gate during the heat races, and it definitely seems like the inside is favorable. Anyone that gets pushed out is stuck in the inside.
Here we go, underway, GP race number 2 for SX2.
I'm like, wait, what's going on here? The points as they run need to be up at all times in the bottom corner. If you're going to do the points as they run, if we could get that automatically synced somehow and have that on the screen at all times, that would help. That would help. The other thing that was a major issue, when you're going to dock guys for the red cross flag, learn. Okay, so what we know is when you cross the finish line, that's the result. Unless there was a blatant like track cut that completely changed the outcome of the race. Jumping on a cross flag where the dude's 20 feet off the track, waving it like he's, at a lemonade stand, it shouldn't count. But if you're gonna do that, the results stand as they stand. That's the race results. When it's all said and done, you dock points, and that's it. That's what the AMA has figured out, and I'm actually okay with that, because we want to know who won the race when they left. And I'm sorry, I started laughing when Vince Freezy goes up there and Chad Reed's like, oh man, they don't even know where he's supposed to be. You believe this shit? Or something to that extent.
And now they don't know that that's correct. Oh, shit.
I started laughing because everybody felt it. And I want to cut them slack and say it's their first race, but wasn't this what the pilot season was for? I did an interview with Adam Bailey, the CEO. He knows what he's doing, but man, Adam, you got some work to do. You got some work to do. Please fix these issues. Don't take this. I'm not trashing the series. I've been very, very vocal about how pro World Supercross I am, and they're doing so many good things. They're paying the riders. The teams look great. The way they fly everybody around. They're doing so many great things. Don't let an old, out-of-date announcer, and I'm sorry, Ralph, I think he's a nice guy, but your time has passed. He doesn't understand the common, it's a story, Ralph. I don't want to hear about, heavy metal tours. Listen, Travis that owns Epic Garage, he's a big metalhead. He probably loved that segment, but he's only about 3 people that like that segment. I could care less about the history of metal. I tune in for Supercross. If I wanted to watch metal, a heavy metal documentary, I will go watch MTV or something. I don't want to watch that on my World Supercross that I just paid $49 to watch about Supercross. I'd rather know what's happening around. There's storylines. Find them. Tell them. Like Daniel Blair does. Like Jason Thomas does. Jason Thomas does a great job. And he asks the questions that need to be asked. I don't want to hear any open-ended questions from Jeff or Ralph. I'm tired of these ass-kissing questions like, how did you feel? If you end a question with how do you feel or talk about, it wasn't a very good question. So don't do that. That leaves it open for like a guy to just go on some sort of boring spiel. Lead these poor riders to water. Lead them with a question that can give them an answer that will really determine it. And it's not easy. And don't look like I'm throwing stones here from a glass house. I understand. I don't know that I could be an announcer because it's a very difficult job. But guess what? I know somebody out there who can, Daniel Blair, and he's available. So go get him. Go get him. Put Chad Reed up there. Chad Reed's great. I love Chad Reed. He is not scared to share an opinion. You know, and it was, I'll tell you what, it sure was nice seeing Vince Friese out there. But if you're going to have 4-minute races, Vince Friese is going to be on the podium every single night. I do love the one thing that Kristen Beat did. She looked at the foot pegs and she pointed out how many guys are running heel saver foot pegs. That's awesome. Keep doing stuff like that. Don't bother the guys in between the races. Point out the clutch change. Point out the heel savers. Point out something that happened. Tell me the narrative of what's happening leading into the next moto. You got 7 minutes. Do not cut away to Cole Seeley talking about how he does this for fun, which I'm not going to lie, that kind of annoyed me, and especially the way he rode in the third one.
It just sounds fun, you know, that's where I'm at right now. You know, I still love riding, I still love going fast on the track, and it's just all about having fun for me right now, and the series as a whole, it's a fun experience for me.
As a fan, I want these guys invested in what they do. Cole Seeley tipped over. Maybe something was wrong. I hope he was okay. But to see a guy just ride off almost makes me feel like he quit. If I'm his team, I'm pissed. And you know, I feel like Jason Thomas would have figured out what was going on down there and said, hey, what happened to Seeley? Why did he pull off? You stop these guys, you have to ask them. And I understand it was a bit of mayhem with 3 races, but that's why you have 7 minutes in between. And production crew, I'm sure Ralph wasn't as bad as I'm making it out because he didn't seem to know the timing. Like he announced, we're going to the podium, but then they went to dead air.
Sailing to the win. To the podium we go. So the podium is going to be up next, Chad and Jeff.
Somebody in the production truck, which they probably don't get enough credit here in the United States for Bondo and those guys that do that. That's very difficult. They've been doing it for a long time. It's very hard to get all that timing. I can't even imagine. But that being said, you are the World Supercross Series. This isn't some podunk series. You're trying to be the best in the world. You're not right now. You're not. I'm sorry, that's a hard fact. But watching Ken Roczen ride, there couldn't be a format that suited him any better with these quick starts and the way he's so fast in the first few laps. Well, the great thing about this is these races are only the first 2 laps. That's it. That's all there is. I feel like Justin Hill had a hard time. Like he's a guy that kind of gets out there, gets loose. I feel like he was trying too hard. He got a little arm pump in that slick track, different atmosphere. I think we're going to see some good racing, but we need timed main events. They don't have to be much longer, but just give us a time. And production truck, guess what? When they give it time, they have an actual, it's easier to cut to different segments. So you know this will be over in 5 minutes plus 1 lap. Yes, you can estimate it off the lap times, but that's pretty variant. If you go 5 minutes plus 1 lap, it's pretty easy. 5 minutes, and then you got to estimate that 1 lap. That 1 lap, hopefully we get lap times that are more than 40 seconds. That's arena cross, that's not supercross. So anyway, guys, I don't want to trash it because I love World Supercross and I am all in for the rest of this series, but I really, really, really hope that they can fix some of these issues. And for God's sake, please reach out to Daniel Blair. I don't care what it costs. Pay him to come for your series. You have the opportunity to have the best voice, the best analyst in your booth. And I think Jeff's fine. I think Jeff's okay. I think Jeff needs to update some stuff, and he'll probably get better, but get off the fence and stop trying to be these guys' friends. That's what Ricky does. You listen to James Stewart. James is amazing. I love James. The more I hear James in the booth, the better off he is. He sounds humble. He sounds knowledgeable. He sounds enthusiastic, and it's authentic. It's not just like, hey, I'm on TV, blah, blah. No, James is about the sport, and they found themselves a magical formula with James Stewart, and I love it. I think he might be the best color man in the business right now. I can't think of a better color man. He's 10 times better than Ricky Carmichael, and he's 5 times better than Jeff Emig. But a lot of being the color guy, you have to have a good lead guy that kind of helps him out. And Ralph is doing them no favors. Hopefully they'll get better. I don't think they will. I don't think he quite understands this modern television where you don't just repeat the same stuff you did 20 years ago with these random facts and stuff that doesn't matter. People have more options these days. They will change the channel if you lose their attention. The way you keep their attention is tell the story. Tell me about Vince Friese's Achilles. Tell me that you talked to him, you know, and go into a little more detail rather than just you mentioned it. And I don't like when Jeff Emig, they're doing the restart, and he's like, according to my knowledge, like he always throws these qualifiers, like the qualifiers, like, you know, what do you do? UPR, FedEx man, what's up? It's all good. So, but yeah, he throws these qualifiers like, what are we doing? And, you know, to my knowledge, listen, Jeff, you're the expert. If you tell me you can't pass until this point, you should at least know that. Even if you're 90% sure, just say it with some conviction. We can go back and correct it later on. But I don't need you to qualify everything. Be confident in your knowledge. You've got the knowledge, just be confident in it. So anyway, that's enough with my rant, guys. I love World Supercross, and I am not giving up on it. They're going to fix it, and we're going to be better. So thanks, guys. Subscribe, and I will catch you later.